So, hi, my name is Revalu Ronfelt, and I am an undergraduate researcher in biochemistry.
Hello, my name is Hannah Frank, and I am also an undergraduate researcher at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. Today, we're going to be giving you guys just a brief overview of our project, Learning Biochemistry the Right Way, Writing as a Tool to Promote Conceptual Understanding. We'll be presenting at the upcoming conference. Unfortunately, our research advisor, Dr. Raymond Pugh, could not join us to make this video, but he will be there at the conference along with us to answer any and all questions you may have about our project. Just to start out, to give you guys a little bit of background about our research project, we were focusing a lot on this pedagogical method known as writing to learn. And that is exactly what it sounds like. It's a method in which students learn by writing about a concept. So for example, if you were teaching your class about chemical reactions, you would assign them a writing assignment about chemical reactions, and then they would there use that writing assignment to learn about chemical reactions. And so in order for these writing assignments to be effective, they have to include 4 different constructs, which are as follows: a meaning-making writing task, meaning they have a specific context and specific audience in mind when they're doing their writing, clear writing expectations, and this means that they receive a very clear and detailed prompt that lets them know about that audience and that context, as well as any expectations for their writing or quality of writing. The third construct is an interactive writing practice, and this is accomplished through the use of the peer review process. And then the fourth and final construct is a chance for students to partake in metacognition. And so this again is part of the peer review process, in addition to kind of a drafting process where students write a first draft, and they're able to kind of metacognate as they go through and produce their second draft. The essential question that we were looking to answer during this research project was as follows: can writing to learn assignments that explicitly include all 4 of the constructs enhance student conceptual understanding in general biochemistry? And so looking at our methods here, the one thing I want to point out is this flow chart we have over here on the right. This outlines the process that students follow as they kind of go through that writing process and completing these writing to learn assignments. Depending on the experimental group, for some concepts, students received a lecture first before they received the prompt, but if they were not in the lecture group, then they started out the process by just receiving that prompt. And in that prompt, we have that meaning-making writing task, as well as those clear writing expectations. After students receive that prompt, they then go ahead and write a first draft. And in that writing of the first draft, we have that opportunity for metacognition. Then they go through the peer review process where they have the interactive writing practice, along with another opportunity for metacognition. Then they revise that first draft and produce that second draft. And again, we have an opportunity for metacognition built in there. After students are done with their writing, they then complete a concept related question on their exam. And so that was one of the measures that we looked at in this project, kind of how after doing the writing assignment, how did students' scores compare? The other thing I want to point out here is that for our sample groups, we were looking at the difference between low performing students, so students who scored a 3 or less on that exam problem, and then high performing students who scored a 3 or higher than a 3 on that exam question. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Riva to look at our results and discussion.
So as our results have indicated, by looking at this first graph, when we added that lecture and when we added the writing component to that lecture, we found an improvement in overall student understanding of the concept. But when we sort of broke it down into that group that Hannah was just talking about, of the higher performing students and the lower performing students, we found that that group of higher performing students did drastically increase with that writing assignment addition. I don't know what else I'm supposed to say.
That's pretty much it for that part, I think.
Okay. Oh, and then there's another slide. That's why I was confused. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's something for you to cut out. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't.
So just, yeah.
Give me like 2 seconds to look at the slide.
Sorry, I didn't know you didn't know there was more than one. That's my bad.
No, you're fine. I should have been more on top of things, and I just have not been. Else to dates, I guess the following. So including a writing assignment that contains the 4 constructs. Valuable tool. So basically, the writing assignment's a valuable tool. The writing assignments increase percentage of high performing students.
Yep, and then you gotta also get in that they increase the concept scores, increase
Concept
for the
score.
high performing students. Yep.
And then what were our additional questions were there any roadblocks that may prevent students from passing from the low to the high?
Mhm.
And are there any intervention in terms of instruction already existing that could be developed to help students navigate these roadblocks?
Yeah, and then at the end, if you want to just say thanks for watching our video, and we look forward to hearing your questions at the conference. Keep it generic so we can use it again for ACS.
Okay, so what is this graph for? Sorry.
This is showing that the average scores increased for the high performing group.
Oh, so this is with all the concepts together.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So this final graph shows when we put all concepts together that the lecture and writing scores were higher than the lecture alone. So all of this data together suggests that including a writing assignments that contains the 4 main constructs that were discussed earlier is a valuable tool in promoting a deeper understanding of biochemistry, and that the utilization of these writing processes will increase the high performing percentage of students in your class. Questions that arose from this research were, are there any roadblocks that may prevent students from crossing into that higher performing groups? And if so, is there any interventions that we can implement that will help those students cross over into that high performing group beyond the writing assignment? And thank you for listening and watching our video. And we look forward to answering any questions you may have at this conference.